Shalom, shalom, shalom. All praises to the Most High, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, which is to say in the Paleo Hebrew, also known as the Lashawan Quadash, Yahweh, meaning He is, Bahashem, meaning in the name, Yahweh Shai, meaning He is our salvation, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus a so-called black man. And as I was scrolling through the internet, I came across this article a few days ago, and it just stuck out. And it reads, heat-stricken tourists airlifted to hospital after skin melts off feet in Death Valley. That's right, melt, not peeled, but melted, okay? And when judgment comes, you're not going to be airlifted anywhere, okay? You're going to have to sit and go through all the pain and agony, all right? And it's not going to be a quick death, okay? It's going to be a slow, agonizing death, all right? And I'm talking about, those thermonuclear missiles, all right? So let's read it. It says, Death Valley, California, WKRC. A man was rescued from the oppressive heat of one of the country's hottest national parks after the skin melted off his feet, according to National Park Service. So as we go on to read, this tourist was walking around with flip-flops, and the flip-flop came off his feet, and the ground was so hot that it melted the skin of his feet, okay? Now it says, park ranger said a 42-year-old Belgian tourist suffered third-degree burns. Okay, if you know anything about third-degree burns, hey, that's serious business, okay? And this was just from, being exposed to the ground, all right? Imagine how much more you're going to be exposed to once those thermonuclear missiles come. And not only those, but you're going to have, laser beams zapping people as well. So it says, park rangers said a 42-year-old Belgian tourist suffered third-degree burns when he lost his flip-flops in the sand dunes of Death Valley. It says the ground temperature would have been much hotter than the air temperature, which was around 120 degrees. So the air temperature was 123 degrees. The ground probably was like at 160. Okay? Because it said much hotter than the air. And the air was at 123. So the ground, it was probably absorbing all of those heat rays. Okay? Officials said. It goes on to read, his family called authorities for help, and other park goers helped them carry the tourists to the parking lot. The release stated, and in those days, it won't be any help because you're going to have other people alongside you, if you don't repent, that's suffering the same, judgment as you, okay? So you're not going to be able to call for authorities because the authorities, those that are in charge right now, whether it's, your local firefighter, your local police department or whatever, they're going to be suffering the same judgment as you. It says authorities reported the tourist suffered third-degree, full-thickness burns on his feet. Wow. I mean, you never think that it can get so hot that if you lose, because we all been outside and, either walking to the mailbox or just something and the ground was just too hot, or even on the beach, the sand was so hot that you couldn't stand in place for 1 second, okay? So imagine how hot these sand dunes were that it it melted the skin of this tourist's feet and gave him third-degree burns, which I believe, if not, is the worst, close to the worst, because you got first, second, and third degree, I believe. It says park rangers instantly recognized the man required a hospital due to his burns and pain level. But Death Valley was so hot that it was dangerous for a helicopter to land. You see? So while you keep playing, and thinking that, hey, you got to tomorrow to repent, you got to next week to repent, you got next year to repent, it's going to come a day where, hey, it's going to be too late, man. And when that day comes, it's going to be, hey, hey, I don't know what to tell you, other than you reap what you sow, okay? So it says park rangers instantly recognized the man required a hospital due to his burns and pain level. But Death Valley was so hot that it was dangerous for a helicopter to land. So the helicopter couldn't even get him. So he had to suffer even more. Okay? This is judgment as well. It says the Rangers had to drive the man to higher elevations in an ambulance where the temperature was 109 degrees. So they had to drive him up higher to an elevation where the temperature wasn't so hot to where a helicopter could take off and take him to the hospital. It says Mercy Air transported the man to University Medical Center in Las Vegas. Park rangers gave some advice to those interested in visiting Death Valley during the heat. Stay within a 10-minute walk of a vehicle with air conditioner. Do not hike after 10 a.m. Drink plenty of water, eat salty snacks, wear protection, hat, and sunscreen. Well, you know what? In those days, you can't have protection. The only protection you're going to have is if you are of the elect, you see? No amount of sunscreen, no amount of fire retardant equipment is going to protect you from these thermonuclear missiles, and especially those laser beams, okay? The only way you're going to get delivered is if you are of the elect, all right? Point blank, period. No other way. Outside, speaking of here in America, if you are not of the elect, you will suffer a more gruesome fate than this. And we're going to go into it and read it. All right. So let's get a few more. Let's look up first different types of degree of burns so we can get a idea of just how bad it was. And this is just, a few differences between first, second, and third degree burns, okay? And it says the top layer of skin, the epidermis, turns red and is painful but doesn't typically blister. So I believe that's the first. And the second degree burns affects skin's top and lower layers, dermis. You may experience pain, redness, swelling, and blistering. Third degree burns, which this tourist experienced, affects all three skin layers, epidermis, dermis, and fat. So it was that bad to the point where it burned, where it melted all of that out. It even reached the fat. So it went through the two layers of skin and then into the fat. Man, and it melted all of that. So if you can see the severity behind, the heat, because it's going to be 106, let's just say it was 150 or 140 degrees on the ground. Do you understand how hot those missiles are going to be? We talking about close to 1,000 times higher than that, okay? 150 or 140 is a walk in the park, okay? Compared to what's coming here to America. It says, how do you tell if a burn is first, second, or third degree? First degree burns affect only the outer layer of the skin. They cause pain, redness, and swelling, okay? You may be able to protect some of that with sunscreen. Second degree burns affect both the outer and underlying layer of skin. They cause pain, redness, swelling, and blistering. And you get this when you touch a hot stove and the resilient heat, it may leave a blister or something like that, And it says third degree burns affect the deep layer of skin, right? And this is what this man, suffered, a third degree burn, okay, to the point where it melted the skin of his feet, all right? So let's get a couple of precepts and then let's take it from there. This is out of the book of Malachi, chapter 4 and verse 1, and it reads, "For, behold, the day cometh that shall burn as an oven." Okay, and that's going to be a judgment, okay? That's going to be the day that those thermonuclear missiles come and wipe out 2/3 of our people, along with the rest of the heathens here in America. Okay, so it says Malachi 4 and 1, "For behold, the day cometh that shall burn as an oven." And it's going to be hot, scorching, okay, melting your whole body. And we're going to get that. It says, "And all the proud, yea, and all that do wickedly shall be stubble. And the day that cometh shall burn them up, saith Yahweh of hosts, that it shall leave them neither root nor branch." Right. So it's going to burn them all the way to the core, man. It's going to what? Disintegrate them, okay? It's going to turn them into mash. It's going to evaporate them, man. All right. Those thermonuclear missiles are going to be melting. Like that man had that skin melted off his feet. Those thermonuclear missiles are going to melt everything. Okay? Bone, skin, hair, teeth, eyes. It's going to melt all the elements. Okay? It tells us that in 2 Peter 3. Okay? So it says, "For behold, the day cometh that shall burn as an oven, and all the proud, yea, all that do wickedly, shall be stubble." Now we know ultimately that's speaking of the Edomites, Esau, the so-called white man. But if you join hand with this wicked, you're going to receive the same plague, the same judgment, the same punishment. Okay? It says, "And all that do wickedly shall be stubble, and the day that cometh shall burn them up, saith Yahweh of hosts, that it shall leave them neither root nor branch." So it's going to completely do away with their whole lineage, their whole line, okay? But for you wicked jakes, you 2/3, you going to get it too, speaking primarily here in America, okay? Because 2/3 of our people will be evaporated, eviscerated and done away with, okay? This is Zechariah. Zechariah 14 and verse 12. And it says, "And this shall be the plague wherewith Yahweh will smite all the people that have fought against Jerusalem. Their flesh shall consume away while they stand upon their feet." Okay? And this is speaking of those that come against the apple of his eye, the elect, okay? And that includes you 2/3 ninjas as well, man. You see, because you got scoffers that come up against the word too. Well, guess what? You're going to suffer the same fate as these other heathens, okay? And we're going to read it. It says, verse 12, Zechariah 14 and 12, "And this shall be the plague wherewith Yahweh will smite all the people that have fought against Jerusalem." Right, because he's bringing them all down to the valley of Jehoshaphat, and he's going to plead with them there. He's going to judge them, okay? There's going to be thermonuclear missiles. There's going to be zappings by the chariots. But here in America, there's going to be heathens along with 2/3 of our people that's going to suffer this plague as well. And here it is. And here it is. It says, "Their flesh shall consume away while they stand upon their feet." So as that man whose flesh melted, the same is going to be for those people who fight up against, the elect of the Most High, okay? And that includes you 2/3 jakes, man. It says, "Their flesh shall consume away while they stand upon their feet, and their eyes shall consume away in their holes." Man. and their tongue shall consume away in their mouth. So that heat is going to actually melt everything, man. Bone, marrow, skin, you name it. And it's going to melt it like it's going to cut through like a hot knife through butter, man. And you're not going to want to be able to, stand there, because it says it's going to consume while you stand on your feet. So it's going to be a slow, agonizing pain, a death, okay, to be intact while your whole body is consuming away, melting. And the Most High can do that. He can keep your spirit, your soul in you alive enough for you to feel that complete pain all the way from your head to your toes, man. That's why it says it is a fearful thing to fall into the hands of the true and living power, okay? So let's read that again. Zechariah 14:12. And this shall be the plague wherewith Yahweh will smite all the people that have fought against Jerusalem. Their flesh shall consume away while they stand upon their feet, and their eyes shall consume away in their holes, and their tongue shall consume away in their mouth. So can you imagine? Because you can't imagine that, but we're reading it. But can you imagine being intact in order to feel everything? Your eyes melting, your tongue melting, your body melting, all while you still being cognitive and very aware and alert of the pain threshold that you're going through. You can't imagine that, okay? You get flashbacks of just thinking when you touched a hot stove or you walked outside barefooted and it was hot outside. And that's enough. Well, imagine this right here, this day that the Most High is going to bring for judgment, okay? It's going to be 1,000 times hotter than that, all right? Now let's go there. Zechariah 8. This is Zechariah 13 in verse 8. And it reads, and it shall come to pass that in all the land, saith Yahweh, 2 parts therein shall be cut off and die, but the 3rd part shall be left therein. And this is speaking of the elect, okay? And the land is America, Babylon the Great. And the land, 2 parts shall what? Be cut off and die. That's speaking of the 2/3. But the 3rd is the 1/3, the elect shall be left therein. Those are going to be the only ones that actually make it out alive of here in Babylon the Great. Because Babylon the Great will be, which is America, that lake of fire once it's completely consumed away, okay? It's going to look like a lake of fire from, an aerial point of view, for those of us that are delivered and called up into the clouds, into the chariots, looking down at America, it's going to look like a lake of fire, okay? And that's going to be that second death, all right? Because we understand that first, judgment that the Most High did was he flooded the world. Well, this is going to be flooded with thermonuclear missiles. The first one was flooded with water, okay? And he gave us the rainbow for a covenant that he would not flood the earth again with water. Okay, so this is going to be flooded with fire, okay? In particular, America is going to get judged by this, okay? America will be set on fire. It's going to look like a lake of fire from the chariot's point of view, okay? Let's go there and read that in Revelation 20. It reads Revelation 20 in verse 12, and it reads, and I saw the dead, small and great, stand before the Most High, and the books were open, and another book was open, which is the book of life. And the dead were judged out of those things which were written in the books according to their works, right? So those that are going to get judged to be received with that thermonuclear fire is based on their works or lack of works. Because if you don't have any faith, your works is going to show, okay? And in that day, you're not going to be delivered, all right? So while your pastors and your preachers are telling you that you're saved, they're not even giving you the whole, the whole story, okay? What are you saved from, okay? You're not saved from sin because you can still, perish at any point in time, okay? So it says, verse 13, and the sea gave up the dead which were in it, and death and hell deliver up the dead which were in them. And they were judged every man according to their works. Right. So every man according to his work, what did you do while you had this time of mercy and grace was, bestowed upon you? How did you make the most of it? Okay. Was you, freaking off, or was you, doing your due diligently? Was you studying? Was you doing videos to feed the flock? Were you trying to keep the law, statute, commandments to the best of your ability? If you are women, were you staying quiet and playing your role in the background and, being a wife if you had a husband and showing the younger women how to be, good wives and things of that magnitude? Or were you loud, rambunctious, wanting to be seen, putting your content all over the internet? What were you doing? Okay. It's going to be evident in that day whether or not you was doing what you were supposed to be doing, or was you just playing off, freaking off, doing things that you weren't, okay? And if so, you're going to be swallowed up in that sea, that lake of fire, okay? Let's read that again. And the sea gave up the dead which were in it, okay? Speaking of America, man, because America is going to look like that lake of fire from the aerial point of view of a chariot, okay, a so-called UFO. And death and hell deliver up the dead which were in them. And they were judged every man according to their works, right? You see? So while you got all these jakes that's playing around, man, and not doing anything with their time that they were given to them outside of, jockling and jiving for Esau Edom, by making these silly contents and all this shit on the internet, are you feeding the flock, man? Are you making content that could actually, wake up the people, the elect? Or are you just making silly ass videos, man, just for views, just so you can get a dollar here or a dollar there, man? See, this is the time that's going to determine whether or not you get delivered, okay? By showing your faith, your level of faith, okay? Because if you had faith, you would be doing the work, okay? Not worried about making some damn content, or doing other folly type of things, So let's read it. It says, and they were judged every man according to their works. That's the end of verse 13. And verse 14 reads, and death and hell were cast into the lake of fire. This is the second death, right? So if that's your judgment, to be cast into the lake of fire, death and hell, because that's what you're going to get, whatsoever a man reapeth, that shall he also soweth, okay? So if you didn't repent, and you continue to sin, because it tells us the wages of sin is death, you're going to be cast into that lake of fire, okay? And you're going to receive that torment, that hell, okay? We read it. Your eyes are going to consume away in your mouth. Your eyes are going to consume away in your head, and it ain't going to be a pretty sight. It says, verse 14, and death and hell were cast into the lake of fire, okay? And we read it at Zechariah, 13 and 8. 2/3 in the land thereof shall be cut off and die. Okay, this is speaking of the 2/3 of our people. They're going to be cast into that lake of fire. This is the second death, okay? This is the second death, because why? The first death was by flood of water. This is the second death. It's going to be by fire. And 15 reads, and whosoever was not found written in the book of life was cast into the lake of fire. Okay? That's speaking of the 2/3. If you not of the elect, which were written in the book of life, you're going to be cast into the lake of fire. Okay? Point blank, period. That's your judgment. Okay? So having the skin of your feet melted off is the least of your worries. Your whole body is going to consume away. And the Most High has the ability to do just that. Keep your soul intact while your body suffers through that hell, okay? Let's read that. Matthew 10, is it? And I believe around verse 45. Slaki, it was Matthew 10 and 28. It says, and fear not them which kill the body, but are not able to kill the soul, but rather fear him which is able to destroy both soul and body in hell. Right. And the Most High can keep your soul intact inside your body so that you can experience all of the hell that you're going to receive when those thermonuclear missiles come. Okay, and eviscerate you and break you down to the smallest atom, man. That's going to be a man. That's going to be a judgment that you don't want. Okay, and if you receive that mark pursuant to Revelation 14 verse 9 and 10, that's going to be your judgment. Okay, that's going to be your judgment. Let's read that. Revelation 14 in verse 9, it says, and the third angel followed them, saying with a loud voice, if any man worship the beast in his image and receive his mark in his forehead or in his hand, the same shall drink of the wine of the wrath of the Most High, which is poured out without mixture into the cup of his indignation. Speaking of those thermonuclear missiles, man. So if you here in America and you take that mark, that's your ass, man. You gonna drink that cup, okay? Along with the others around the world, but here in America, where it's going to be judged and the bulk of the deliverance is coming out of, those that take that mark are going to be deemed of our people the 2/3, and they will not receive salvation. It says, which is poured out without mixture into the cup of his indignation, and he shall be tormented with fire and brimstone in the presence of the holy angels and in the presence of the Lamb. So you're going to get it. If you take that mark because you have no faith, that's your judgment. You've already sealed your fate, okay? It's consumption, okay? Just sit back and wait, until the missiles come and destroy you, okay? Bit by bit and break you down to the smallest particle, the atom, okay? And you're going to feel all of that 1,000-degree temperature, melt, Okay, and then the Most High can keep putting you back into that body, and you can keep reliving that torture over and over until the Most High see fits. Okay, that's why we read in Matthew 10:28. Okay, fear him that kills both what? The body and soul, and has the ability to torment in hell. All right. That's why we say it's a fearful thing to fall into the hands of the true and living power. Hebrews 10:31. You see, the Most High is going to reestablish his name on this earth, man. Okay, you're going to get it right. And it's not a higher Jehovah God, because God is a title. You know, his name is Yahweh, and he's going to reestablish his name, okay? He's going to put fear back into the inhabitants of this earth, okay? This is Hebrews 10:31. It reads what? It is a fearful thing to fall into the hands of the living power, whose name is Yahweh, right? Because he got the ability to end your life like that, or he can keep your life and your soul intact inside your body so that you can feel every inch or centimeter of whatever judgment that he has set for you, okay? So just be mindful of that, man. You want to be delivered. You want to see this place getting burned on fire. You don't want to be part of this place getting burned on fire. Let's go there in Psalms 91, and then we're going to probably wrap it up. This is the book of Psalms, chapter 91, and this is talking about an aerial side view of when we're delivered, you know, in the chariots. It says, 1,000 shall fall at thy side, and 10,000 at thy right hand, but it shall not come nigh thee. Only with thy eyes shall thou behold and see the reward of the wicked. Right, so only with thy eyes, because why? We're going to be up in the chariots looking down, seeing all the wicked get their reward, which is that judgment, those thermonuclear missiles, okay? So we're going to see it. We're not going to be part of it, and we're going to be rejoicing and giving praise and honor and glory to the Most High through his only begotten Son, Yahweh Shai, Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shai, for delivering us. If we are that number of the elect, that we don't have to partake in the second death, okay, which is the lake of fire. All right, speaking those of us that are here in America, Babylon the Great, okay, because 2/3 is going to get it, okay. That's a large number out of a pie. 2/3, that's damn near 75%, okay, and 1/3, the other 25%, is going to be delivered, okay. So it's going to be, you know, a vast majority of our people here in America getting that judgment spoken of in Zechariah 14 and in Malachi, I believe it was 4, verse 1, okay? But it says, 1,000 shall fall at thy side and 10,000 at thy right hand, but it shall not come nigh thee. Only with thy eyes shalt thou behold and see the reward of the wicked. Verse 9, because thou hast made Yahweh, which is my refuge, even the Most High, thy habitation, right? And we're not, you know, freaking off right now, okay? Making silly ass content and doing things that don't, you know, have anything to do with the word, okay? So we are prioritizing and we're putting and getting our, you know, house in order. We're putting our affairs in order, man. You see? This ain't a time that you are allotted or given to just be doing silly stuff with, man. This is the time that you should be seeking Yahweh and finding him, okay? While he may be found, all right? Because the time is going to come when he's not going to be found, and then you're going to be left out there to fend for yourself. And it's not going to be a pretty sight, okay, for the most people. They're going to receive that judgment, all right? While we're looking up, it's like while we're getting beamed up and looking down from the chariot, they're going to be looking up, you know, getting, you know, obliterated, getting eviscerated, all right? They're going to get it all, man. Let's go there in Revelation 15. This is Revelation 15 and verse 1, and it reads, and I saw another sign in heaven, great and marvelous, 7 angels having the 7 last plagues, for in them is filled up the wrath of the Most High. And I saw as it were a sea of glass mingled with fire. What is that sea of glass? That's the chariot, one of the windows, that you're going to see is going to be like, it's going to look like a sea of glass, and in it mingle fire. Why? Because as you're looking out through the window, you're going to look down and see Babylon as if it was a lake of fire, filled with everyone that, didn't receive salvation. Okay. So it says, and I saw as it were a sea of glass mingled with fire, right? It's going to be like when we look down, if we are that number of the elect, as we looking down from the chariot point of view and looking at America, Babylon the Great, it's going to look like as if it was a sea of fire, like if it was a lake of fire. It says, in them that had gotten the victory over the beast and over his image and over his mark. You see? Those are the ones that were found written in the book of life that didn't receive that mark, okay, and will receive salvation, okay, and over his image and over his mark and over the number of his name, stand on the sea of glass, right, having the harps of the Most High, right. So those are going to be the elect, the 1/3 and the rest scattered throughout the four corners of the earth. But here, speaking primarily in Babylon the Great, America, is where the 2/3 will be judged, the 1/3 will be delivered, and then the rest of the heathens, along with the 2/3, are going to receive that judgment, which is those thermonuclear missiles, and they're going to be what? Disintegrated, okay? They're going to be burned and tossed into the lake of fire, all right? So we open up with that man having his feet, the skin of his feet melted off, but that's going to be the least of your worries. Your whole body is going to melt and consume away, okay? And you have the potential of being left inside your body while you feel it, all the way from where your head starts to the bottom of your feet, okay? Your bottom of your feet, that's the last part to get melted, okay? So you're going to have the potential of the Most High see that he's going to leave your soul intact, allow you to feel it all from the head to the toe, to the head to the foot. All right. So let's go ahead and finish out and close out in 1 Peter 5:8. This is 1 Peter chapter 5 and verse 8. And it reads, be sober, be vigilant, because your adversary, the devil, as a roaring lion, walketh about seeking whom he may devour. And he wants you doing things that aren't conducive to your overall well-being. He wants you to make silly content, and do things that keep you side. He wants to give you sidetrack missions to keep you occupied. All right. So that you don't feed the elect, the sheep, that you don't turn back and repent. All right. That you don't believe. He wants you in that state of non-belief. Okay. The end will never come. Okay. Yahweh shall never return. That's the type of faith he wants you to have, okay? So that he don't have to be alone when he goes down. Because they say misery loves company, okay? He wants to get as many as he can to join him in the lake of fire, all right? And he's going to get his fair share here in America. He's going to get 2/3, all right? So he won't be alone, all right? The devil, which is just mean the deceiver, which we know, is a nation of people, the Edomites, they're not going to be alone here in America, okay? They're going to have the other nations with them, and they're going to have 2/3 of our people alongside with them as well, okay? So they're going to have a lot of company alongside them when judgment comes, okay? That's why we are charged with the, responsibility of telling our people, those that will listen, to repent, be converted. Okay, while you still have time, seek Yahweh, because if you don't, there's a judgment that's going to come, and you're not going to like it, whether you believe it or not. All right. So that's why it says, be sober. Okay. Have a clear thought, a clear mind. Okay. And you're not going to get that without this word. All right. It tells us wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of that time. Okay, it's going to come a time where you're going to have to rely on what you was able to get in this grace period. Okay, this wisdom, this knowledge, that's going to stabilize you. All right. If you're not sober, you're wobbly. Okay, but if you're sober, you're stabilized. Okay, you won't be wavered. You won't rock to and fro, because why? You're sober. You're grounded in this wisdom, this knowledge that is written in this book. The Holy Bible is the only way you're going to be sober. It says be vigilant, continue to watch, okay? We just had a global crash in the market, okay? The signs are coming, man. Whether you can see them or not, they are vastly approaching. And when they're here, and when that first dominoes topples over and start that domino effect, it's going to be too late. It's going to just come one after the other, okay? So be sober, be vigilant. Why? Because your adversary, the devil, as a roaring lion, walketh about seeking whom he may devour, okay? And the Most High is going to allow him to get his fair share of individuals, okay? So, I pray someone was edified through this lesson. And until the next time, if it be the Lord's will, stay strong, stay in the faith. We almost home. Shalom. Peace.